From day one, I have been getting request after request to cover today's subject here on Anime Abandon. In fact, I would wager that it is the most requested title. Second only to Violence. I'm speaking, of course, about Project A-ko, a title whose popularity always baffled me. Not that I think it's bad by any means, I dare say it has some downright inspired moments from time to time, but I never understood how, of all the anime that had a VHS release, this wound up taking place in the pantheon of beloved old taku ephemera. My theory is that anime nerds at the time never saw anything like it, an unabashedly silly show filled to the brim with anime references. That's right, this is the old school otaku equivalent of Family Guy. Now, I know that's sort of a backhanded statement depending on who you're asking, but when I compare this to Family Guy, it's not a judgment of the quality of humor, rather the style. Non-sequitur references that have only a tangential connection to the actual plot. While I think the majority of references in Project A-ko are more of a shout-out to the fandom than an actual parody of the subject, I'd imagine if you were well-versed in old anime, you'd get a kick out of the nods towards some classic staples. In short, I think Project A-ko was popular because it was an anime that rewarded the viewer for their fandom. And it also didn't hurt that the original box art for Project A-ko had a big old warning label on the front cover of it saying it had nudity in it. I know that's a cynical statement to make, but considering what the fandom was like back in 1990, would you honestly doubt that was the main reason why anyone watched it in the first place? Hell, Project A-ko initially was supposed to be an entry in a hentai series called Cream Lemon. And sorry, you can't unknow the fact that there exists a hentai series called Cream Lemon. How in the world did anyone think that was a sexy title? Well, I suppose things would be different if it were a party. If you didn't get that joke, count yourself lucky. We begin our tale in very familiar territory as a meteor has ripped Japan a new one. And yet we have a thriving city sprouting from the crater. It even has a patently stupid name, Graviton City. Gotta hand it to the Japanese. They can take a bad situation and turn it all around. A meteor devastates the local wildlife and renders the immediate area uninhabitable? Well, that just opens the market for real estate.
A new Graviton City has grown in the crater left by the impact. The remaining wreckage of the meteor itself is incorporated into what has become our military command center, which dominates the downtown skyline of our great city.
You're listening to KEXP, Exposition Radio for all your expository needs. Now here's Jackson Brown with What I Did Today in excruciating detail. This is our hero A-ko, your typical teenage girl, who can also run at super fast speeds and has super strength. It appears she's late for her first day of school, hence her breakneck pace here, while dragging her poor little friend Seiko along with her. By the way, their names are sort of an in-joke. Whenever animation studios have a line for a nameless background character that's a child, they usually just list the character as A-ko, B-ko, and so on down the alphabet, the prefix ko being a common part of female names in Japan. So now that I've gone out of my way to explain the joke to you, it's funny, right? Oh, and by the by, Seiko here is one of the most grating and infuriating characters I've ever come across. The thing is, she's not aggravating because she's a loud, shrill, bubble-headed turd nugget who can't keep her goddamn trap shut.
I'm called Seiko. Don't you think that's cute? Do you think it suits me? I do. It kind of expresses my personality. And I must say, you're pretty as well. The prettiest school teacher I've met.
Seiko, shut up. Thank you.
Seiko, shut up! You're embarrassing me. I don't care. Let it all hang out, I say.
Although that's not helping. Seiko is obnoxious because she's transparently obnoxious. The film is fully aware of how annoying she is, given that A-ko and most people around her keep telling her to shut up. Given what Project A-ko is, methinks Seiko here is supposed to be a parody of the idiot sidekick character in many an anime, but there's no real statement made about the trope with her. She's not an exaggerated caricature meant to make a humorous observation by which characters like her exist. She's just a loudmouth brat that's made worse with the insufferable air of self-awareness. Just because you make a character intentionally annoying doesn't make them less annoying. Why is this so difficult to understand? I guess the only thing about her that has any kind of comedic potential is that it makes her relationship to Biko, the haughty, soon-to-be rival of A-ko, all the more odd. It seems that Biko has something of a crush on the little idiot, and hates Eiko for coming between them. Biko, I'm not going to judge your love life or your orientation. But I will judge the fuck out of your shitty taste in women. So, after an incredibly unfunny bit about Seiko making a horrible lunch, we return to class where I think today's subject is bullshit.
What does it tell us about his absurdist views of human existence? A good question. Then his obsession with ecumenical transcendentalism is revealing.
Bitch, you best not be bringing Parmenides up to my face. You're probably one of those stupid hoes who think Heraclitus said everything flows. That is an aphorism, ho! It looks like Eiko is going to have to serve detention for, well, Seiko's all-around annoyance, which provides the perfect chance for Biko to send one of her goons to scare Seiko, thus coming to her aid in ensuring her love. Need I remind you that she's doing all of this for this girl?
I thought we were good friends, though. I wanted to give you something.
For Pete's sake, stop bluffing. We'll get sent home if you don't.
Biko, I assure you, there are other women out there. Other women that don't sound like a goddamn car alarm. Okay, also other women who don't look like Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. Yeah, I know it's intentional, meant to be a shout-out for the fans, but has anybody ever heard of finesse? Just because you can insert a reference doesn't mean you should. Referential humor is a crutch. One that I am proud to say I do not need, nor will...
Hi, big boy.
What?
I ain't no boy just because I shave every day.
The monarch would never hurt me. You just don't understand him. He has a deep hate for Dr. Venture.
It was right there. I had to make it. But to spoil my fun, Kenshiko is interrupted from giving Seiko here a savage beating by Eiko.
Hey, you're terrific. We showed him, didn't we?
A minute more and you'd have been hurt.
Please don't rub it in. With her plan failed, Biko's left to brood on her failure. Inside her mansion pool, of course. Could you tell this was supposed to be a hentai anime?
Seiko. God, she's beautiful. My heart's been racing ever since I laid eyes on her. She's got such a great laugh. And even when she cries, she's cute. Her eyes, the way she moves. Seiko, you've got to be my friend.
Oh, I see. You don't want her to be your girlfriend. You just want her to be your friend. Like the kind of friend you bring home to Thanksgiving dinner who keeps getting funny looks from Grandma. This is the part of the film that really drags its heels. The plot decides to take a detour and just have the girls bandy about town aimlessly. The plot doesn't progress at all, we learn nothing new, and every joke just makes me want to count ceiling tiles.
No. No! It's... the Colonel! Keep away!
Seiko and Eiko are watching a film in which Colonel Sanders emerges from the shadows with a killer gleam in his eye. Why am I not confused by this? I mean, it has all the ingredients. It's a complete non sequitur, it has no logical sense, it makes you question what the fuck was lost in translation, but nothing. Not even a shred of lost sanity. Did this clip know that the double down was coming and it just gave up? Have I broke through to the other side? Have I immersed myself into so much anime insanity that it just becomes second nature to me? Have I...
Right!
Nope! Sanity's still slipping safely away! Still, even if Biko wants to ride the clan with Seiko and she feels Eiko is in the way, there has gotta be something more between her and the girder-crushing redhead.
You and me have got some outstanding business from a long time ago.
What business are you talking about, Biko? We two only just met.
We didn't just meet. You and I began at the same kindergarten, and Seiko was there too.
Oh? We all started at the same kindergarten?
They just pulled a Final Fantasy VIII! Yep, these three have a history. That really doesn't matter. From here until a good chunk of the third act, it's just all about how much failure can Biko withstand before she goes insane. In fact, the only bit through this entire parade of failed plans and hysterically overbuilt robots that I find actually kind of funny is when Biko's transformer here shows a fatal flaw.
And now, Uma, all systems go. What's the matter, Uma? Give her the benefit of the whole works.
Yeah, but I seem to have a problem.
What's the matter with you? Just do as you're told.
There seems to be a basic design flaw. The start lead is slightly out of reach. I'm doing my best.
Okay, I'll admit, the only reason why I find this funny is because it reminds me of this.
Here we are!
Now I just want to watch Clerks again. I know I've been fairly negative about Project Echo so far, but really, the first half of the film is pretty underwhelming. The jokes don't hit, there's really no plot to speak of, and even Eiko's feats of superhuman speed and strength run on fumes at this point. But then the second half starts.
Now I'm dressed for action. This suit gives me the power to match you in unarmed combat.
What does it look like? I never won. I quit like Oh, come on. Ain't it cold enough? Oh, gee.
Okay, not funny per se, but points out the ass for calling bullshit on women's battle armor. Yeah, honey, I know you spend a lot of time on that costume and everything, but you look like an 80s yoga instructor. Ooh, I'm nasty. You know, my therapist said I should stop doing that voice. In all seriousness, the second half of the film completely redeems the lackluster first half. Why? Because it's nothing but an extended fight scene between Biko and Eiko. My earlier comparison to Family Guy is more appropriate when you examine the back and forth between the two girls, because it plays off exactly like the Peter and Chicken fight scenes that were funny once. Training blow after blow using over-the-top martial arts, completely ignoring the massive amounts of property damage they're causing, and overlooking the alien invasion that's also tearing the town in half. Oh, did I mention that? There's also this subplot about aliens trying to find their lost princess, because why the fuck not? I didn't bring it up because their scenes don't really add up to anything until the second half. Otherwise, they're mainly there for Space Cruiser Yamato and Macross references. But they enter the plot proper by abducting Seiko because they think she's their princess, just roll with it, forcing Eiko and Biko to join forces and save her.
Eiko! I wanted the pleasure of finishing you off myself.
Awesomeness coming in 3, 2, 1. Damn! I haven't seen Mad Missile jumping like that since I played the last level of Super Mario Bros. 3. Valkyrie bitch status attained. The two manage to get on board the ship, but Biko manages to find Seiko first.
Seiko? My God, she's dead. No, hypnotized. No, drugged. That's all right then. She'll come out of it. Huh?
Oh, dear. Biko, I think I've been in shock.
Oh, Seiko, did they use some terrible alien drug on you?
No, I tired myself out whining and crying.
God, I haven't seen a woman with worse taste in romantic partners since Harley Quinn. While Biko has her hands full dealing with Seiko, Eiko has her own problems dealing with the ship's security.
Ah, you avoided that with some skill.
Huh, that was dirty, coming from behind.
This is as far as you go. And the only way you go a step further is across Dee's dead body.
Yes! Death by Snoo-Snoo! Things take a turn for the Peckinpah when all hell breaks loose in the control room, where the three girls reunite. The ensuing gunfight causes the ship to crash conveniently in front of the school where, all's well that ends well. I really don't know how to feel about Project Echo. I mean, on one hand, it's not bad or even mediocre, but on the other hand, it's not that funny, and it hasn't really aged well. With all the references and in-jokes about anime at the time, how could it not be horribly dated? I think I have too many problems with the film to consider it an anime classic like some do, but I don't want anyone to come away from this thinking that I dislike the film. It's just simply alright. It could have been better, but it also could have been worse. As far as its place in anime history goes, well, I guess Project Echo should be regarded as less a cornerstone of otakudom and more a sort of time capsule of the culture. To its merit, I don't think I've covered a film, OVA, or otherwise on this show that exemplified the kind of tropes and other little details that made the medium what it was at the time. In a way, you could say that Project Echo is historically significant. But there's still one thing that bothers me. Why is Echo that strong?
Eiko! Time to go!
Of course! Her parents are Wonder Woman and Superman. Soups decided to raise a family with Wendy and move to Japan. Now it makes hella sense. I'd like to think that Project Echo here would have been the Superman Returns we would have had if Bryan Singer wasn't up his own ass. Well, c'est la vie. Well, we didn't have enough time to cover our next subject in Women's Month here on Anime Abandoned, so we decided to dedicate next month to Go Nagai's Little Cutie. Till next time.